welcome to our National Lunch and Learn. We are very honored to say we do this the third Tuesday of the month, and we are very honored to say we bring some of the bigger speakers in the country. Today is absolutely no exception. This is Summit Funding social media rock star Kaylee Still. She specializes in content creation, branding, social media ads, sales funnels, and lead generation. All of the special words that we've all heard about and need to learn a lot about. Her passion is for people and connection. It's what driven her career here at Summit Funding and social media advertising. Kaylee works directly for Todd Screama, our CEO, and Robin Lavasser, our EVP of Sales. Guys, without further ado, I'd like to introduce Kaylee Still.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. I'm going to go ahead and pin myself real quick. I am so excited to be with you. Hey, Matt, familiar face. I love social media. Many of you have probably taken some of my classes already. We have quite a few. And I'm excited to talk to you today about the fundamentals of Facebook ads and targeting, because we have been getting so many questions about Facebook ads. How do I make them? What do I do? Which buttons do I click? Can I target this set of people? And so hopefully we're going to be able to answer a lot of your questions today. And so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and we will get started. Jonas, are we seeing the screen? All right, perfect. We will get rolling. Okay, so today we are going to do a step-by-step on how to create Facebook ads, how to target your ideal clients, and then we will get into Q&A. So we are literally going to create an ad together today. So you will see me go into it and do all of the things. And so, but first, we really need to talk about what you have to do before you get into Facebook Ads Manager, right? So we have to have some sort of visual for our ad. So we need a graphic or a picture or a video that's going to be the visual part of our ad. And then we need a caption, of course. We're going to need a headline. I'll show you all of that once we get in there. And then we're going to use Facebook Ads Manager to create our ads. Okay, so when you're creating a graphic or you're picking a picture, if you're going to make a graphic, I highly recommend Canva. It has a free version where I really feel like you can make pretty much anything you want to make. If you guys are hopping on, make sure you're muting yourself just so the recording is nice and clean. But yeah, if you want to make a graphic, I would highly recommend Canva. Usually the free version can get you whatever you need. There is a paid version if you're just super creative and you love making things and you want to kind of elevate to the next level. It's like $12.99 a month, but usually the free version will get you where you want to go. You really want to capture attention, right? So people are just scrolling on social media. They're usually trying to entertain themselves. So your graphic, picture, video needs to capture their attention to get them to stop the scroll, right? And read what you're selling. So you want to be consistent also with your branding. So as you're making more ads and putting them out there, brand awareness is huge, right? Say you're a real estate agent or you're a loan officer in your local area. If they're seeing your stuff over and over again, it's going to make them feel like they know you. It's going to grow trust with you. And if that branding is the same, they're going to be able to recognize, oh, that was Jonas. Oh, that was Jonas, because they're recognizing that brand with that messaging, the colors, the fonts, all of that stuff. So you want to use minimal text to get your point across, right? So don't be afraid to use text. This Create the Life of Your Dreams ad that I have right here, it's actually a video because this will scroll, but that actually has a decent amount of text on it, but it's a very high performing ad for us for our Loan Officer University. And so don't be afraid to use text, but you don't want a ton of little text all over the place, right? I think this one also performs well because it has that iPhone that's scrolling, so it catches that attention, right? So use minimal text, but make sure you use enough to get your point across. You want to make the text as big as you can so that it's easy to read, so that people know exactly what you're trying to say pretty quickly when they look at it. GIF ads are actually doing really well right now. So we actually have a whole class, if you haven't seen it, on how to create GIFs and memes. And those are actually doing really well as ads right now because they get people to stop the scroll. They're entertaining. And so if you already have a GIF that you could use for your ad or you want to make one, we do have a class on that. Okay, so if you want to do a video ad, my favorite apps for videos are InstaShot or InShot Instagram actually, and then Canva. So if you need to edit your video a little bit, clip the front, clip the back, maybe clip a couple ums out of the video, InShot is a really great app to use. It's on your phone, so you can, I highly recommend, unless you are just like, you know, super, super professional and amazing at all of this, I would just use your iPhone to create your videos, right? It's the easiest thing. They're super high quality. We create a ton of our ads with my iPhone and they do really well. So you can use InShot on your phone. So if you're taking the video on your phone and then you can just edit it on your phone and then you can upload it. So easy. So I love InShot for that. Instagram, when you're first getting going on this, Instagram is a great tool for captions. So if you're doing a video ad, you want to have captions over your video ads so that people can read what you're saying without having to have the sound on, right? Because a lot of people are still on social media without the sound on. And so we want them to be able to consume your content, even if they don't have the sound on. So you can upload your video into Instagram. In their sticker button, you can use the captions tool that'll literally create captions of exactly what you're saying pretty much. You can edit them if you need to, if they spell your name wrong or if they spell some word wrong or whatever, you can edit the captions and then you can save it out of Instagram without having to post it. And then you have a video now with captions over it that you can use for an ad. And that's just a really quick, easy thing if you're kind of getting started in this. Canva is really great for videos if you want to overlay text, if you want to have like a piece of text that stays the whole time or pops up. Canva, I would say for video is a little bit more in depth if you're really wanting to get more detailed with it. Honestly, I would really just start with the Instagram captions and get going with that. And then eventually, if you get super comfortable, using Canva. And then you can also use Canva to create video covers if you want to post this video on your social media also, and you want to cover over the video for your feed. So I love Canva for that. You also, with videos, you want to do quick transitions when possible. So if you're not familiar with transitions in video, I would just Google transitions for videos and how to do them. And there's a ton of content online on how to do that, but that's really good at grabbing people's attention and stopping the scroll. Because if they're watching a video and then quickly you have a quick transition in the video, it catches their eye while they're scrolling, and thus they're more likely to watch your ad and then click on what you're doing. Okay, so you want to create a caption, obviously. So a couple quick tips around that before we get into Facebook Ads Manager. So you want to make sure that your offer is very clear. You want people to be able to tell within like 5 seconds, what is this person trying to tell me? What does this person want me to do? What is this ad? You want that to be super clear in your ads. You want to use emotion, audience pain points, storytelling, and testimonies when possible. So people are so driven when they buy things or when they reach out or when they click on things by emotion. So if we can capture or create an emotion with our ads for them, key. Their pain points. What are they struggling with that you're trying to address? Make that super clear in your ad. Storytelling, tell a story. Storytelling is like, there's no way that I could describe to you how amazing storytelling is on social media, but stories sell. So if you can have a story around something, you could tell a client story. There's so many things you could do around that, but storytelling is amazing for ads. And then testimonies. People love to see real life testimonies. This person was here. Now they're here because of my help. And just sharing that testimony is an amazing ad. With the copy of your text, you want to try to keep it to a few paragraphs at most. And you want to use spaces between every 1 to 2 sentences. So if you're writing a sentence and then you want to do a space and then start writing another sentence. That way it's just really easy to read versus it being like 2 paragraphs of solid text that they just it's harder to read that way. Or if you have this sentence, like every 1 to 2 sentences broken up, so much easier to read. And I'll kind of show you that in our ad that we're going to make together. Okay, the other thing is you want to use hooks. So I would Google social media hook ideas, things like asking a question, 5 things you didn't know about whatever, blah, blah, blah. 3 things every home buyer does wrong. I will tell you that the negative hooks outperform positive hooks time and time again statistically. And it doesn't make you a negative person. It's just, that's what performs really well. So don't be afraid to use the negative hooks to grab people's attention, because it's really good at piquing interest. Like, what are the 3 things every home buyer does wrong? Like, I don't want to do that wrong. So it piques that interest, and they're more likely to click or do whatever action you're telling them to do. You always have one call to action, just one. You always have to have a call to action on your ads, but you only want one. That way they are directed to do what you want them to do. We don't want to put, follow me, like this, and do this. We want one action. And so the way that we usually do it is either click here, message me, call me, one of those very easy, direct, do this. And in the ads that we'll get into in a second, you'll be able to see that there's buttons on there. I'm sure you guys have all seen Facebook ads where there's learn more, call now, buy here, whatever. There's buttons that you can click. But in our caption, we also want to have a call to action so that when they read it, we're telling them what we want them to do. Okay, so to create our ads, we are going to use Facebook Ads Manager. There's a couple different ways that you can create Facebook ads in Facebook, but I really only recommend using Facebook Ads Manager. So to get to Facebook Ads Manager, you're going to log into your Facebook account in one tab. This is the Facebook account that is connected to your business page, right? So you have to have a business page to run Facebook ads. So once we're logged into that, we're going to open a new tab and we're going to Google Facebook Ads Manager. And when we click on it, it's going to look like this red with this girl. It has looked like this for years. And you're going to click go to Ads Manager. Now, the reason I like Facebook Ads Manager is you get way more targeting options. Like, your targeting options when you try to build an ad in the back end of Facebook page, terrible. So targeting options are way better, and you have more control over your ad, where it goes, who sees it, all of that when we use Facebook Ads Manager. So that's what you're going to do. So you're going to click go to Ads Manager, and then it is going to pull up a screen that looks like this. And this is what it'll look like pretty much every time. And you're going to click create ad, this green little button right here. And then this screen is going to pop up where there are 6 types of ads. And we're going to walk through all of this together, but I really want to highlight these 6 types of ads first. So when you are just kind of starting out on Facebook ads, I highly recommend you use the traffic or the leads. So when we do sales funnels for Summit Funding, I do all of our sales funneling. We use the sales type of ad, but you have to use Facebook pixels for sales ads. And so if you're not really just like super, into all this and super knowledgeable about it yet, I would highly recommend just using traffic and leads. That way you don't have to deal with the Facebook pixel situation and coding websites and all of that. So I love the traffic and leads, and we use them a lot for other ads. So don't feel like you're, not getting the best of the best. You're still getting the best of the best. You just don't have to use a Facebook pixel, which is amazing. Okay, when to use which one? So if you have like a landing page that you've created, and I do just want to throw this out there, right? Like because most of us on here are loan officers and real estate agents. So the people that we're targeting in general right now with the market the way it is are first-time home buyers, right? Like, you guys might have some other niches that you work in, and we'll talk about that when we get to targeting. But a lot of us are really focusing on first-time home buyers right now, with especially the millennial generation hitting that average age of the home buyer. So we have a lot of millennials coming into the market and wanting to buy homes. When millennials go to buy homes, they buy a little bit differently than the generations before them. Millennials and Gen Z really like to get education before they buy, right? So they're not always going to just like call you immediately or buy now. So I would recommend having a couple different types of ads going. I would do some ads with the leads where you're using the instant forms, where you can have them give them they would give you their information and you could call them. right? But a millennial is really not going to want you to call them until they're like ready to go look at houses. But if you want to grow that relationship with them and educate them, you could create some sort of landing page with education on it, or some sort of website that you have that has education on it. And so then you would use a traffic ad to direct them to those links, to the landing pages, to start nurturing that. You want to eventually get them on some sort of email list. We have a ton of content here at Summit Funding that your loan officer has access to for your database that can help foster that connection, provide education to them once they get on your email list. Actually, our director of marketing, Sherry Booth, did a wonderful presentation a couple lunch and learns ago on some of those email campaigns that we have. So if you haven't had a chance to watch that one, I would go back and watch that so that you can, you know, when you're thinking about Facebook ads, you really want to think about it as a funnel, right? So the Facebook ad is going out to the audience. What do we want them to do next, right? We're narrowing it down. We're pushing them through this funnel, right? And I would say that there's a couple different ways you could go about it. One would be getting them to call you, which is great. But when they're on social media and they're scrolling, I think it's an easier sell to get them on your email list, to get them to message you, to get them to go to a website or some sort of landing page. And so, yes, I would do some ads where they're going to call you, and you'll test this out, right? Every market's different. If you have a specific niche, your niche might be different than just the general millennial buyers. But what I'm saying here is you want to kind of think about where you're directing them as you're starting your Facebook ads, so that you have some direction to give them, like what's their next step, right? You always want to be thinking, what do I want them to do next, right? So that's going to kind of determine what kind of ad do we want to run for this, right? So like I said, traffic you want to use for links, landing pages, and calls. Leads also works for calls, but it's really great for those instant forms. And the instant forms are amazing. You can get people to give you their email, their first and last name, their phone number, and then you can call them, see where they're at on their journey. And that's also a really great way to get people on your email list, where you could then email them some education. What are you interested in learning more about? That kind of thing, and start that relationship and that conversation to get it going for when they're ready to buy a house. Okay, before I'm going to stop sharing, and we're going to go into Facebook ads before we talk about targeting, and just make an ad together. Okay. Let me share screen again. And if you guys are having any questions about what's coming up, what I'm talking about, put them in the chat so that we can, it's really, I think, great to get the questions as we're going, because I can always pull those slides back up. We can always go through it again later. But as you think of the questions, as I'm going through this, put them in the chat. Okay, so we are now in our Facebook Ads Manager. We're going to click Create Ad. For today, we're going to do a traffic ad. I'm going to press Continue. So I just went through those steps that I told you. You went to Facebook Ads Manager. You clicked Go to Facebook Ads Manager. You got that screen to pop up. You clicked Create Ad. The 6 options popped up, and I picked traffic. So now you can name your ad. I'm just going to leave it as coaching tests, but I know that this is not a real ad. Okay, so special ad categories. Because most of us on here are real estate agents and loan officers, we will need to be in the housing category generally. If you're a branch manager doing some recruiting, sometimes you don't have to be in the housing category. But if you are sharing about loans, if you are sharing about housing in any way as a real estate agent, you're usually going to have to be in the housing category. You can try to get your ad approved outside of the housing category if you're not talking about like a specific, if you're really just doing kind of more of like a brand awareness ad and you're trying to get your team's name out there or your face out there as a real estate agent, sometimes you don't have to be in the housing category. But for today's purposes, We're going to be in the housing category because it does, when you go in the housing category, it does limit a little bit of our targeting versus when you don't have to be in any category at all. So in 2018, Facebook got in a lot of legal trouble for a lot of their ad practices. They were told that they were being discriminatory and that people using their ads were being discriminatory. And so that developed a bunch of these housing categories, not housing categories, these categories of ads. So credit, employment, social issues, and housing. Because of the industry we all work in, we get to be in the housing category. So we can still get where we want to go. We can still target the people we want to target. And I'm going to show you how to do that in the housing category. But that is kind of the backstory on that. So countries, United States. I always leave this as auction. This is our campaign objective, those 6 options that we picked. We picked traffic. I don't usually do the A/B testing or the advantage campaign budget. I just leave all of that alone. So the only thing that I'm really doing on this first page is I'm naming my campaign, I'm picking the housing category, and then I'm pressing next. Okay, so the other thing is that as I press next, it just took me to this second page. So these are the 3 pages as you're building a Facebook ad that we use. And so you could name this one again, coaching test. For this one, I am going to direct them to a website, so I will show you that. But you could direct them to an app, to Messenger. So if you have an app that you use for your business, you could direct them to that. You could also have them call you. The dynamic creative here, I leave off. I'll show you what I do with the creative on the next page. Daily budget. So this really is totally up to you. Now, I will say when you're starting your Facebook ads, they usually will not let you spend more than $50 a day. So just kind of know that. The way to get around that would be to just duplicate your ad. If you say you really wanted to spend $100, $150 a day to get your ad out to more people in a short amount of time, and it's not letting you spend more than $50 a day, you can just duplicate your ad 1 or 2 times and have them all going. And then now you're spending $150 a day and your ad is getting seen by more people. But anyway, this is great, like $20 to $50 a day, super great. What I would do is I would kind of monitor, I would start your ad, kind of monitor how it's going. Maybe try 2 or 3 ads when you get started, see how they're doing. And then if one isn't performing as well as the others, turn that one off. Maybe spend more on the one that's working really well. You'll kind of, work through this. I would say you need to spend at least $10 a day to really see traction. $20 a day is a great place to start too. And so that just depends. So you can set a start date and you can add an end date. So I don't usually add an end date because most of mine I'll just turn off when I decide that they're not working. But say you had an event that you are running an ad for. You're going to do a first-time home buyer class with one of your Summit Funding loan officers. You are going to do the class on June 1st. So people would have to sign up before June 1st, right? So you would just set your ad to end on June 1st. That way you don't have to worry about remembering to go in and turn it off. And then it's done at June 1st. So that is a really good tool to use, especially for events. So audience, this is where we will target all of the people that we want to target. So we're going to talk about that in a minute. I'm going to kind of bypass this for now, and we will come back to that when we get into targeting. So this is really up to you. Placements. So placements is where your ad is going to be. So is it going to be in Facebook feed? Is it going to be on the right-hand side of Facebook? Where do you want your ad showing up for your audience? I personally like to use manual placements because I like for our money to go exactly where I want it to go. And so what I do for that, you could leave this on Advantage Plus when you're just getting started if you don't want to do the manual placements, but I like to do the manual placements. So I'm just going to exit out of these things it's telling me. So I'm going to go through this and look. So for me, I only like to do the feeds. I like to do anything that's going to be square or story size. So if it's like a really thin thing on the side, I don't want to use that. I don't feel like people actually click on those very much. And statistically, like it works better and your money goes further if you just utilize the ones that are like square and story size. So basically what I do is I look through this and yep, that's a square. Yep, that's a square. Yep, that one's fine. This one's fine. All of these are going to be fine because they're all stories and reels, so they're all the right size. This one, see, this one I don't like. I don't like this in-stream videos. I'm going to turn that one off. But this one is the right size, so I'm fine with that. Facebook search, I don't like this one. People don't click on those as much. That one's the right one, and that one's the right one. So that is all I did. I clicked off those couple that were the wrong size. And the rest of these are either square or story size, which means, oh, I don't like the right column. So I click off on the right column also, even though it's a square. People don't click on those as much because it's not stopping their scroll. It's off to the right where their eye's not usually looking. If you think about when you're on Facebook, a lot of the times you don't even look to the right. And I'll tell you, the right one is usually only on desktop. And the amount of people that use Facebook desktop compared to their phone is like night and day, right? So we want to really be catering to the cell phones. So that is all that we're going to do on this page for now. So we're going to press next. And now this is taking us to where we're going to actually put in our ad. So I'm going to name it coaching test. I like to name them all the same thing so that when you're in this Facebook ads manager area, you can break it up by like campaign, ad set, ad. And I just like them all to be named the same thing. So that's just a personal preference. I'm going to pick our Summit Funding Facebook page and Instagram. And then I am going to do a manual upload. So this ad that I'm picking is only a single image. Carousels are working really well right now. So if you want to do a carousel ad, you can, if you search carousel in Canva, there's a bunch of different templates that are carousels, and those are performing really well right now also. So, and those are really good for like, if you put the hook on the first page and they have to kind of like swipe to see the rest of your content, works super well. But for today, we're just going to do a single image or video. And I'm going to add media, add image, because the one I'm picking today is just an image. Now I have already uploaded for today the ad that I'm going to use. But if you need to upload your ad, you would press this upload button and then go find it on your computer and upload it. I am going to use this Coaching is the Key to highlight our next level coaching program. So on some of my ads, I will make a square size and a story size. On this one, I actually like how it looks when it just does the blue blurring on the bottom and top. So I leave this one as a square, and you can totally just leave them as a square, but you could make a story size and a square size if you wanted to. And a lot of the times with the story ones too, I may put more text on the story because when they're seeing it in the story form or on the reel form, they're not seeing the caption, especially when they're seeing it in stories. The caption isn't in the same place as it is when you're on the Facebook feed. So sometimes I'll put more text about what, like I'll include some of my caption basically on the story graphic, just so they can totally get an idea of what I'm talking about. Okay, so this is the enhancements. I leave these on because it's just making your picture brighter if they feel like it needs to be brighter. Facebook has a couple little like quirks where if you utilize their stuff, they will push your ad out to more people. And this is one of those quirks. So if you use the Advantage Plus Creative and you don't need to click on it anywhere except when you upload your ad, they will enhance your image the way that they feel like it needs to be done. And then they're going to push it out to more people. So I do like to utilize this. So I've got it on, it's all fully optimized, it says, and we're just going to press done. Okay, so now we are going to do our caption and headline. So the headline that I'm going to put here is close 5 more loans a month. So this ad would be, pushed out to loan officers across the country who are not in summit funding, who we want to highlight our coaching program to, because, our coaching program is amazing. Our coaching program is who hosts these national lunch and learns. So you're benefiting from our coaching program right now. And so we want to get that out to more people. So let me grab my caption. So I already have a caption built out over here that I'm just going to copy and paste into. So you put the caption in this primary text, and that is going to pop up here on the top. And then you put the headline here. And so that is going to be the close 5 more loans a month, learn more. I want them to click learn more. And so see how I spaced these out every 1 to 2 sentences? That way it's easier to read. And I have my one call to action right here, because we just want one. I want them to click below to learn more. So I want them to click learn more. And yeah, you can put, sometimes I'll put like the arrow emoji. Let's see. Okay, I don't remember where it's at, but sometimes I'll put the arrow emoji here so that it kind of directs them to click the button. But yeah, that is the basics of adding your caption, adding your headline, adding your graphic in, and then you can see over here, this is like a preview of what it would look like in all of the areas. So like on the story, it's going to look like this. Loan officers, do you have a mentor? Close 5 more loans a month with coaching. I don't usually add anything in the description. For this one, I want it to say learn more. You could have a different call to action on it if you want them to give you a call or sign up or subscribe or whatever. I like the learn more because it doesn't feel like they're having to super commit to anything. And so I find that we get more clicks when it's not like get started right now, type thing. It's more like, oh, I could learn more, it's not like, asking for a big commitment. Okay, so then because we clicked traffic and I clicked website, I would put the website that I want them to go to right here in this website URL. And then if I had a pixel, you would put it down here, but we're not going to go into pixels today. That's a little bit more advanced. I would not worry about that at this time. You can see how many clicks you're getting in like over here. I'll show you that in a second, but you can see how many clicks you're getting. And when you're first starting out, that's really a great way to track how well your ad is doing, is how many clicks you're getting, how many people are either calling you or how many people are doing your call to action based on your ad. That is a great way to know how well your ad is performing when you're first starting out. So that's what I would do. And then normally I would click publish if this was totally ready to go. For now, I'm going to click close because and this saves everything that I just did. Actually, I'm not going to click close. Well, whatever. So it saved everything that I just did. So let me go back to this really quick. So let's get into targeting, right? So that we can go back to the targeting section. So who is your ideal client? I think this is a super powerful exercise to go through when you're about to do Facebook ads, is you really want to identify, who am I targeting? Who is my audience? If we don't know who we're targeting, and we really want to cater the ad that we're making, right? When we go in and we make the graphic or we make the video, we of course want to cater that to the audience that we pick. So who is your ideal client? What are the interests and behaviors of your ideal client? Where do they live? So those are some things you want to really think about when you're thinking about who's my ideal client. Now, what I will say is when we're in the housing category, we can't really pick an age. We can't pick gender. So you can't really think like, how old is my ideal client, or like, you know, gender of my ideal client. We can't pick those when we're in the housing category, but we can pick what are their interests, what are their behaviors, what websites do they go to, what books do they read, who is my ideal client? And you think about that and you think about what they're doing, and then we can target them based on that. There's a couple other really great target options in Facebook that I'm going to show you here that are very general, like first-time home buyers, house hunters. If you go to, I like to use mortgage calculator. If they've looked at a mortgage calculator, they are probably interested in buying a house soon. You can target people based on Zillow. If they're visiting Zillow website or using the Zillow app, you can target them that way. So there are some good general overarching for our industry. And let's go ahead and get into that. So let me go back into my Facebook ads manager. And we're going to go back to that targeting situation. Share. Okay, so I'm just going to click on, this is the ad that we were doing, the coaching test. I'm going to click edit. I'm going to go to that second page where there is the audience option. So here is our audience. Like I said, because we are in the housing category, we cannot change the age and we can't change the gender, but we can do this detailed targeting. So I'm going to press edit here. And it is going to let us add demographics, interests, and behaviors. So let's do first time buyer. And over here, it's going to tell you how many people. So it is estimating that 29 to 34 million people in the United States are looking to buy their first home right now. That is very encouraging for all of us, isn't it? I love it. The other thing that I will mention is you want to do location, right? So let's say I like to do, so see where it says people living in or recently in this location. We want to do people, well, for a real estate agent, you might want to do people in or recently in the location because maybe they're visiting because they want to buy a house here. But generally, I would say people living in this location, because you're gonna, if you do the recently visited, you're gonna get a lot of people that aren't looking to buy a house at all. They're just, you know, visiting for whatever random reasons. So I like to do people living in this location. And then you're just gonna pick, like, what I would start out with is the radius in which you want to work. So if you're a real estate agent and let's say that you are in Eugene, Oregon. Okay, so what area do you want to work? Are you willing to drive 15 miles? Do you want to go up to Junction City? Do you want to go over to Elmira? Like, do you want to do that or not? So you kind of define the area of people that you want to work with, right? If you're a loan officer, you may just target the state in general because that's going to give you more people and you're licensed in that whole state, right? So you can just target that whole state. Now you want to look here. We did first time home buyers, right? So we're going to add some more people. Like, let's go ahead and add Zillow to this. So we're also getting some of our move up buyers. Okay, so that extremely increased our audience size here in Eugene, Oregon, from 22,000 to over 100,000 people that have looked at Zillow recently or are a first time home buyer, and 15 miles. So you can increase up here. You can increase your radius up to 50 miles with a single pin. So you could add more pins. Like you could say, okay, I also like to work in Portland. So I'm going to add that pin also. And so then it's going to give you the multiple pins, and you can change the mile radius with each pin. Maybe you're fine to go all the way up I-5. Maybe you're not. It's totally up to you. So, and this is obviously just this Oregon area. You would pick whatever area you're in and where you are willing to go. And that's where you want to spend your money, right? Because we don't want to spend our money in areas that we don't really want to go drive and open doors and all of that good stuff. So that extremely increased our audience size. And I would say at $20 a day, I would probably delete the Portland one and just keep the Eugene one, but totally up to you. I set our budget originally for $20 a day. And so this is a better audience size for that amount that we're spending. But back to targeting. So like I said, you want to think about what is your ideal person. Maybe you really like farmland and you really like to work with people who are interested in farmland. So you could put in, okay, no results for horses. The other beautiful thing is suggestions. So once you've typed in a couple options, you could do suggestions, starter home, Trulia, first time buyer, home grant. House is probably too general, but you could do it. It's, you know, if you're finding that your audience size isn't big enough, I would go an audience size between, once you get up to like 1 million people, you really need to be spending at least like $50 a day. So kind of tailor that to how much you want to spend. But yeah, but there are other like interests. So when you browse here, you can go to interests. So maybe they're interested. This is all stuff that you can target while still in the housing category, right? So maybe you like to work with people who are in accounting and in finance. You would click that. Maybe you really are passionate about the arts and you want to work with people who also have that interest with you. Like, we all tend to enjoy working with people who have similar interests to us. And that's a way to broaden your reach and network besides just people who are looking at Zillow. That is like a differentiating factor. So I actually used to work for Dave Kammerer in the Eugene branch, who's one of our branch managers here, and he is super passionate about the arts. And he does a bunch of stuff with the ballets in town and the symphony in town. And so we would run some ads with the symphony and with the ballet. And then people who were interested in that tended to work with him because he was so passionate about the arts. So when you have a specific niche, a specific passion that you like, target people who are also doing that, interested in that. And then you're going to be able to work with those people who have similar interests to you. It fosters deeper connection. You're going to probably work with them multiple times because you guys have this ongoing interest together that's not just about mortgage or real estate. So that is that. That is targeting. Do we have any questions about targeting before I get out of this section? Because we're kind of just going into Q&A now.
So Kaylee, I have a couple of questions in the chat box. Do you want to get out or how do you want to do it?
Yeah, go ahead and read them to me.
So Kaylee, I'm going to start off with the first one because it's the most important one. When creating your ads, I know we have a lot of real estate agents out there and a lot of loan officers. What are the compliance things that everybody needs to be aware of so they don't get the lovely phone call from compliance?
Yes, that is a great question. So I do have a slide that I will share in a minute about compliance for our Summit Funding LOs. The other beauty, if you are a Summit Funding LO, is you can reach out to marketing at any time, send them the ad that you'd like to use, and have them take a compliance check on it for you and say, hey, you need to use this disclaimer. But we do also have a handbook that you can reference where there are the disclaimers for the specific things you're doing. If you are a real estate agent, every single brokerage is different. So there are some state laws sometimes in your state that you could look into, but then also your brokerage may have, especially because your brokerage is usually in that state, right? So they're going to have information on that for you on what you need to do compliance wise. Usually we have to give our legal information, right? So your NMLS number, all of that stuff. But as a real estate agent, you'll get with your brokerage and ask them, what compliance do I need to be doing for my ads? And they usually have great information on that.
Guys, for Summit Funding Loan Officers, I will let you know the one that I get hit with the most is the equal housing opportunity information. That's the one I get flagged on in most of my ads because I forget it. So please make sure you don't forget that.
Yep, and you can put equal housing opportunity, or you can just put the logo in your ads. If you have the equal housing logo, you can just put that in all of your ads, and then you don't have to worry about it.
Perfect. So Kaylee, you said that $20 a day is the sweet spot for the ads. How long do you typically need to run an ad to make sure you get the proper traction?
So usually here, I don't know why it's not popping up, but usually we have, oh, there it is. So an estimated daily result, right? So if you look at here, we're spending $20 a day. Our estimated audience size is almost 200,000 people. So it would take a hot minute for us to reach all 200,000 of those people, right? So it's how many people do you want to reach with your ad? How many link clicks do you want to get? So you're going to see, okay, if I hit 8,000 people a day, so if I leave it on for like 10 days, that's like a lot of people, and that's going to give me this many link clicks. And so you can kind of see as you're going how many you're going to find that, okay, I'm going to get this many leads, and that's going to turn into this many this many showings, this many applications, this many like closed loans, commissions for our real estate agents and our loan officers, right? So once you start running them, I would say run an ad for at least 10 days is what I would say, and at a minimum. And if you're doing an event, I would say run an ad for 2 weeks before the event, at least, if not 3 weeks.
Perfect. Kaylee, Richard, I hope I'm saying this correctly. What is a good metric to meet on clicks per week? And what do you usually strive when it comes to a return?
That is a really great question. I'm going to stop share so I can look at some of our ads that we're running right now. It really depends on like your link clicks are going to be heavily dependent on how much you're spending, right? Because the more you're spending, the more you're pushing it out there, the more people are going to see it. I would say that say 10,000 people see your ad. It would be really great if 600 to 1,000 of them clicked on it. That is like kind of an average that I would say would be a really good return.
Perfect. Great. For next question, are the demographics either or does the viewer need to meet all the criteria?
That is a great question. So when you're doing, let me actually pull this back up to show you because you can do both, which is really awesome. Okay, so let me share screen again. Okay, so when I'm doing it in this area, the detailed targeting, they would just have to have at least one of these. So, let me give you an example. So if I want to narrow it, I want people who have looked at Zillow or are first-time home buyers, but I really want the very interested people. So I'm going to put mortgage calculator, because if they've looked at a mortgage calculator, I know that they're really interested, and we're going to see how many of those people. So see, that took the number down to 30,000 people, right? So the top one here, the detailed targeting, they just have to have one out of any of them. You could do 100 of these detailed targetings, and they would just have to have one of them. When you do the narrow, they have to have one of them, and then also they all have to have this specific one. So this is a really great way to narrow in your audience. If you've gone out wide and you have like an audience that's like 2 million people, and you're like, I really want just the really interested people, put in something like mortgage calculator, and it's gonna really shrink, or put in a bunch of different interests and then narrow it to first-time home buyers. And then you're going to get first-time home buyers that have at least one of those interests. So that's a way to kind of narrow your audience down.
Okay, so what is the web address again to access the Facebook Ads Manager site?
Yes, so you're just going to Google Facebook Ads Manager. Let's just do that right now. Show you what it looks like. Facebook Ads Manager. Let me share this. I'm in Edge right now, so it's got Bing going on, which is not my favorite, but this is what it looks like. Facebook Ads Manager. So it's facebook.com/business/tool/ads manager. You're going to click on that, and it's going to take you to your ads manager, and then you just press go to ads manager.
Perfect. How does $20 translate into actual views? Does the amount you pay mean the more it will show up on various people's pages?
Yeah, so the more you pay, the more people are going to see your ad, right? When we did, so this is $20 a day. Let me share the screen again. This is all set up to $20 a day. And what I love is that Facebook has this estimated daily result, right? So, and this is a catch-22, right? You could go either way, right? So when I did not have the mortgage calculator in here, it said my reach was going to go up to 8,000 a day. So I might have gotten to more people. But when I put the mortgage calculator in, the reach didn't go down that much. And these are people that might be more interested, right? And then I could also run this ad for 10 days and probably everybody in this audience is going to see it, right? So it really, you can mess around with this. So like, let's remember that we've got link click 65 to 188. When I take off the mortgage calculator, that takes us up to 69 to 205. So that really isn't making that big of a difference here. But if you are someone who doesn't have a team and you're just by yourself and you want to work through less leads that are maybe higher quality, I would recommend trying to do a smaller audience size that's more narrow to exactly what you're looking for. And especially if your estimated daily results are not changing that much. Like that was not a big change. You're still going to get really good results and they may be more interested. So you're going to get less leads that are probably better quality.
Kaylee, are we required to put the equal housing logo in the images or the description part of the ad?
We do like it if you put the equal housing logo in the ad. That is really nice if you can do that. You can just put it in the caption, but for auditing purposes, it does work better. Like it's best if you can go ahead and just put the logo on the ad.
And guys, please let me reiterate, Kaylee's finally beating it into my head. If you're a loan officer here at Summit Funding, have compliance look at your ad. It is the easiest way before you submit it, then you don't get the phone calls afterwards. I finally was done getting the phone calls and then just turn it into them, let them look at it before I start putting it out. Kaylee, Todd wants to know, are the Facebook ads different than the Meta Business Suite?
Yes, so that is different. I do not like doing ads in the Meta Business Suite. It limits. Sometimes it will only let you target the people who already like your page. It doesn't give you as many targeting options. I personally do not like doing it in the Meta Business Suite. I only use Facebook Ads Manager. And if you guys can see, I have the equal housing logo right here on this ad. So it doesn't really have to take away from the ad. It can be really small. But yeah, just put it in there if you can.
Kaylee, to respect everybody's time, before I ask the last question, thank you so much. You've been an absolute rock star, and we're running to the end of the time. If anybody else has questions, please put it in the chat screen. I can still see it, and I can get them to Kaylee, and I promise you, if you put what market you're in, we will get your questions answered. Kaylee, do you have a moment to show us an example of your top converting ad, please?
Yes, let me... My top converting ad, this is funny. This is a great topic because some ads that you think, oh my gosh, this one's going to do so good. It doesn't. And then ads that you're like we had a recent ad where I put the first ad out. I liked it. I thought it was really pretty. I thought it was going to do well. Didn't do well at all. I created a new ad and it's converting 20 times better than my first ad. So sometimes you just have to try a couple different things and then they work. Let me pull up a couple of my best ones. And some of them are surprising because I just like thought, oh, this one's kind of boring, and it's just super direct. So a lot of the ads that I'm doing right now are for our Loan Officer University program. Todd created a whole program for people who want to become loan officers. And so we run ads for that. Let me find that one. So this ad this month has been seen by like 130,000 people. And let me look at the actual stats before I. And the ad has been clicked on by 5,000 people. So 130,000 have seen the ad and 5,000 have clicked on it. And that's pretty dang good. And this is what it looks like.
There we go.
It's very simple. I was shocked that it did so well, but just says become a loan officer. And that ad is currently our best performing ad. So yeah. Do we have any other questions? I have a couple more minutes.
I have one here. How long should a video be? What time frames? What's a perfect shot for a video?
Great question. Great question. I would say less than 30 seconds on an ad is ideal. You could go up to like 60 seconds, but people are probably not going to watch that whole ad. If you can get it down to like 15 to 10 seconds, that's best.
And Kaylee, last question for the day. John King wants to know, can you show us how you track your results?
Yeah, so I do all of our tracking in Facebook Ads Manager. And so let me pull up one. One second. Let me also really quickly just throw up this compliance slide for you guys. And then I will show you the tracking. So, like I said, I just always like to share that when we're doing social media, when we're doing anything, where we're pushing ourselves out there, especially with ads, we definitely want to be in line with compliance. And so you need to have all of this stuff on there. Like I said, if you are a Summit Funding loan officer, you can definitely reach out to marketing and they will help you on that. I do also just want to make it super clear. Currently, we are not supporting Facebook ads. Like our marketing department does not support helping with Facebook ads. So I am specifically doing this class so that we have a recording so that you guys can use this recording to create the Facebook ads that you want to create. In the future, I may have some capacity for some questions. Currently, we don't, but we are having this class. And if you do have any questions, always feel free to send the questions, and then we can kind of maybe decide if we need to do a second class on this or not.
Kaylee, we really, really appreciate your time. Guys, Rebecca's